This cave has been through a lot. The one question you could ask me that will completely stump me, I'm going to throw it out there early just so y'all don't do it to me, is how old is this cave? We can't exactly answer that yet, but we at least can talk about what's happened in here. What has it been through? I want to point something out to y'all. The little formation you held in your hands, it was made of the same stuff as this cave. Limestone. This is a very abundant type of rock, mineral composite of our planet. And you might even live in a home made of limestone, so maybe it's close to home for us. But I want to point something out to y'all. Just because it's common doesn't make it not unique. I want to show y'all something up here. Well, it's a big chunk of limestone, but it's been through a lot. See, it's had hard times, some stress, right? Some of y'all might know what that's like, right? It's had the rock above it, and even in this mountain range, the rock below it, squeezing it, actually moving it up and down in the stratigraphy of this mountain, the layers of the earth. It's been through a lot. In fact, is it darker in color than what you held in your hands? Yeah, a little bit, right? It's becoming marble. It's had pressure, not heat, but it's had the pressure to become something different. This is Pole Canyon limestone, and that is what makes our cave. But just like us humans, sometimes we crack under the pressure, right? That's okay, it happens. But even this rock can too. And this is now an opportunity for if we get any rain, any snow in this parched, dry desert, it makes its way through. And it reforms this limestone. Oh, but I gotta be careful. Y'all came up for this tour for chemistry, right?
Right.
Okay, we'll do a little bit. When we take in oxygen, we release what from our breath? CO2, carbon dioxide. Yeah, this is the main ingredient mixing with water outside in the air and the sky that lets it break this limestone down. It's carbonic acid. Let's talk about what it's reforming, though. This is a good place to do so. If these formations above us that are being formed cling tight to the ceiling, what do we call them? I'm hearing stalactites. Yeah. Nice. Yep. Oh, by the way, y'all are brave, standing there right underneath them. And y'all went to the clear spot. I can tell. Maybe that question is there, right? Will this actually fall on me? Limestone's sturdy. It takes its time growing. Even the weight of time doesn't take it down. And it's very rare that formations naturally break in this cave. I will actually show y'all a few spots in this tour where it has happened. They're important spots, but nonetheless, you should be more worried about something coming off this formation onto you. What?
Bats.
Yeah, oh, hopefully not a scorpion. A drop of water. A cave kiss, as we call it. Yeah. I want you to look right here. We're actually going to follow this cave kiss on the end here, of this stalactite. It's got a little journey. If it doesn't land on a human, one of us, oh, it's gonna end up right on the floor, just like that drip. I totally planned it, by the way. But anyways, if you want to come up a little closer to see this, this is important to point out. Each drip is leaving the building block of our cave that carried with it down to the floor. This is calcium carbonate. This is the makeup of the limestone that's being reformed, like a Lego brick, right? And we got a little bit of calcium in us, right? Our teeth and our bones. Maybe we share a little bit in common with it. But each drip, as the water evaporates, even in a human cave like this, it lets that formation grow, drip by drip. And this formation might reach the ceiling, so we call it a what? Stalagmite. Well, y'all are good. Nice. Would y'all let this grow here in the middle of the trail? Maybe. It might trip someone, right? So we'll put a fence around it. You got to think about those things in a park like this. Not every ranger points this out, too, right? We walk through here in our tours. We step on it. It gets unacknowledged. And I want you to think about, too, this is a reminder that this cave, whether you're here on this tour to see it grow or you're away in your life, it's been growing every second of your life. So it's been waiting for you to come visit or maybe return, right? But we're nice. We're going to give it a chance. Let it grow here, and eventually they might come together. The stalagmite and the stalactite finally hold hands, come together. I want to give you the freedom to call this and think of this however you like. You know, we all see things differently. Sometimes you'll hear us rangers, we sometimes call these columns or pillars. But I also want to point out, on this structure, other formations can grow. In fact, water can find a path that it really likes, kind of go with the flow, as they say, and they leave curtains or draperies behind. There's even some behind y'all here. Very important formation for this cave here. And they can change too. In fact, if they're hanging from a vertical surface, like right here, they get really thin. They get a little sharp on the end. Of course, you'll see some rangers get a little too close to the formation. They put their light through it. What do we sometimes call that, if we see it that way? Maybe cave bacon. Weird stuff. We always think of food when we're talking about cave formations, I guess. But one last thing I want to point out, we actually had a good question earlier. How do we check age of formations for climate studies? This little formation is going to be our best friend when it grows. Stalagmites are typically what we use to date formations in a cave. Each drop doesn't lie, whereas stalactites, there are times where they don't grow in a year. They don't have that growth. So if you look at the little rings, the concentric circles in them, they might not tell you everything you want to know. So stalagmites are what we check. For our cave here, the oldest one we have found so far is 2.2 million years old. How many jerks did that get? I don't know. It's hard to think about. But for something like this, it's hard to give an age to it. So here's my answer that the best I can give for how long does it take. It all depends on how much water each one gets. So, yeah, this. Water. Pretty low right here.
The curtains. It's like that.
I have not done that for science yet.
Yeah.
But we might talk a little bit, we have some
Making
time to
bacon,
talk about water quality in this cave today. Anyways, very important, pass this back. Low and slippery.
Low and slippery, pass it
It's
back.
slippery, everybody.
Okay, low and slippery.
That's the popcorn that we were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Remember we saw the display?
Low and slippery.
Look at that. Just like a little bit.
Looks like that rock magnified. Narrow
Narrow spot.
and slippery.
Slippery. Handrails are good. Now, door. What's it now?
I don't know.
I don't think so. Looks like natural light.
Slippery and slopey.
Slippery downhill.
Handrail.
Low. Slippery good. Look at that, it's a totally different deal here.
Watch your head.
Let me get out of here, let you guys.
they're using that new cave system and stuff. Remapping it.
Watch your head, please.
Well, they're good down to,
I think he was showing over here how somebody touched.
Huh?
Where the black is.
People touch.
And right on formations with that, you'll see the cave kind of dissolve, and it's pretty much a mess at that point. So I call that a pretty reasonable source of pollution that's how that cave formation will deal with it. Will it just cover it up over time? Will the chemicals any cause it further? Yeah, what was it here when it happened? And also, I want to point out how far down this cave.
Oh, yeah.
They're all over.
High shields.
Look at that.
What's that?
That's so cool.
Well,
I've seen them in more than one spot now.
first aid.
Yeah, that's one.
And then, just above it is Basin. Yep. We like to keep things nice and legible. Yep. Yeah, that's saying, when it's popped, we replace.
You mentioned fallen chunks, there's a fallen chunk.
There's a few up above, right here. Yeah. Let's make our way in, folks. Make sure that Ranger Max gets to see the room too.
What's this room called?
We are currently in the Grand Palace. That you're probably wondering, what's that? What's my ticket name? Kids name from? The King and Queen are about to go on their weekend. I'm not sure they're in here right now. But as y'all come on in to the Grand Palace, this is an interesting chamber for us to look at, to research. I want to point out, we have a cupola in here. And very importantly, I want to point out something right here.
Wow.
You'll notice on these little draperies hanging down, holes. Do you think any of us were able to get up there and cause that?
Possibly, but no.
We're ambitious, but I don't think we're that ambitious to do something like that. But what we're seeing out there, this is very important for the whole story of this cave, is that natural change happens in this cave too. Even the wind, even air coursing its way through here, picking up a little bit of water and moisture, even if that water and moisture is just a little bit too acidic, it can break formations down, just like that. Will they change over time? Will they break and fall apart? Maybe. Yeah. There's even another I like to point out right over here, where a good section of it's missing now. This is called corrosion. This is something that naturally happens in our cave. We can't punch ourselves and blame ourselves all the time for things that happen in this cave. It changes naturally. But we have to also consider our impacts, right? But I want to point out that for what this cave has taught us is that it's okay to be not at the end of the road yet. There's still a lot we're learning about this cave, that you're able to come out on tours. You'll hear other rangers talk about other things. We all have our tastes in the cave. But I really want you all to think about too, if we're having this opportunity to come in and see this cave, what are we making of this opportunity? We deal with, in the National Park Service, bringing people into resources, but also trying to protect them. So what I want you to leave this cave, maybe even just looking in this one room right now, what I want you to leave this cave thinking of is one thing you would protect in this cave. What is one thing you would protect? You don't have to tell me right now, by the way. But think about it just a little bit.